like that. First of all, I would like to let you all know that this assembly is being live streamed. I hope you've all had a good day. And Governor Tomlin would like to send his apologies for not being able to make it. They grounded his flight in Charleston due to the weather, but he sends you all his best wishes. And I'm sure he's very sorry that he couldn't be here. We have a very extensive assembly for the evening from what I hear. So I'm going to start by introducing Ms. Jill Robbins, who will be doing our first presentation. Mrs. Jill Robbins was born and raised in Wheeling, West Virginia. She is a graduate of both Wheeling Park High School and Wheeling Jesuit University. From a very early age, she had been exposed to the military life. Her maternal grandfather, Edward Kiefer, was a U.S. Army veteran who served during World War II in the European theater. Her paternal grandfather, Vincent Fatigati, was a member of the U.S. Army Air Corps who also served during World War II in the South Pacific Theater. As influential as her grandfathers were, her father, Joseph Fatigati, served in the U.S. Navy for 27 years, and it is through him that she is eligible to be a member of the Auxilary. He is a Vietnam veteran and American Legion Post No. 1 commander for over 17 years. Because of her family's history in the military, she became involved first with the local chapter of the Vietnam Vets and then with the American Legion Auxilary. She's been an active member of the American Legion Auxilary for 23 years. She is currently the president of the Unit No. 1 in Wheeling, where she participates in their annual Poppy Day, Memorial Day, and Veterans Day programs. Jill has been a counselor here at Rhododendron Girls State for the last 11 years. She is married to Alan Robbins, who is the adjutant for the Sons of the American Legion Squadron No. 1. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Jill Robbins.
Hello. In order to share the story of the history of the American Legion Auxiliary, I first would like to set the stage and share a little bit about the world at the time the Auxiliary came into being. The year was 1919, and our country had just been fighting in the First World War, and the morale was very low amongst the servicemen. Several members of the American Expeditionary Forces were asked how to fix the morale issues. Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Roosevelt Jr. suggested to create an organization of veterans for veterans that would preserve the memories of the Great War and to help with those who had served to reintegrate into the society. Based off of Lieutenant Colonel Theodore Roosevelt Jr.'s suggestion, the first American Legion caucus was held in Paris in March of 1919. A few short months later, in St. Louis, the organization adopted the name the American Legion, as well as the preamble and their constitution. This is now where our organization, the American Legion Auxiliary, comes in. At the time, the American Legion was a male, military veteran-only group, and the women who supported them wanted to be part of it as well. So the American Legion decided that in order to have women involved, they needed to create a separate organization. So shortly after the St. Louis caucus, the American Legion Auxiliary was born. The American Legion Auxiliary, in less than 1 year, had formed over 1,300 local units across 45 states. Today, we have more than 8,600 units in the United States, as well as 7 foreign countries. And we are striving to achieve the goal of 1 million auxiliary members worldwide by our centennial celebration. In our great state of West Virginia, we have 64 units scattered across the state with over 6,200 members. As an organization, our goal is to support the American Legion and to honor the sacrifice of those who serve by enhancing the lives of veterans, military members, and their families both home and abroad. The Auxiliary is also an advocate for veterans, an educator for our citizens, mentor to our youth, and promoters of patriotism, good citizenship, peace, and security. As the world's largest patriotic service organization, The Auxiliary is very active across the country, doing many amazing things. Our organization provides more than $2 million in annual scholarships, collects more than $5.5 million from the distribution of the handmade poppies, contributes $50 million towards veterans, military families, and children and youth. Our volunteers volunteer more than 10 million hours in community service projects helping veterans and active duty military. And the most amazing, that's close to our hearts, is that our organization provides the opportunity for 16,000 girls to attend Girl State each year. Additionally, the American Legion Auxiliary has many other programs that its members participate in each year. Our programs are divided up into 3 categories. They're the Veterans and Military Support and Advocacy, Family Support, and Youth Development. Under the category of Veterans and Military Support and Advocacy, we have programs that directly help our veterans. Our Poppy program is the most notable. We also have auxiliary-sponsored gift shops in our VA hospitals and homes, cheer and holiday parties at the VA hospitals and homes as well. And we strive to supply any need a veteran may have as they transition from military to civilian life. Under the label of Family Support, we have the American Legion Auxiliary Essay Contest, whose topic is patriotism. We participate in many community service projects, as well as provide scholarships for children of our military and for veterans returning home who wish to have a change in career. Our last category, which is most important to you all, is our youth development. It's the reason you all are sitting here looking at me. Aside from supporting our veterans, our auxiliary strives to educate children. 2 major ways we do so is Girl State and Girls Nation. We also focus on how we can help the children of veterans. These are all the programs that make the auxiliary an amazing group to belong to. To put this into perspective for you all, I asked all of our staff 2 questions. How many years have you been a member of the American Legion Auxiliary? And how many years have you been a part of West Virginia Rhododendron Girl State? I was not prepared for those answers. Our staff here have a combined total of 418 years membership to the American Legion Auxiliary and 410 years dedication to Rhododendron Girl State. 800 years of experience that you've all had a privilege to get to know this year. What's really amazing is that we only have a few requirements to join the auxiliary. And if you're interested, please see one of your counselors, and they'll get you the information. Now, as a closing activity, I have a really kind of interesting thing. If any of the things I read fit you, or if you fit any of the following criteria, please stand. If you are a past department president of the American Legion Auxiliary, please stand. If you are an American Legion Auxiliary member, please stand. If you are a current member of the military, if you are a sister to a current or former military member, if you are the daughter of a current or former military member, if you are a granddaughter of a current or former military member, and if you are a great-granddaughter of a current or former military member, please stand up. Look around you. There's not very many that aren't standing. You all are eligible. Y'all can have a seat if you. Those of you who are standing, in theory, meet the eligibility requirements to be a member of this amazing organization. The Auxiliary is a group of dedicated women who support our veterans and today's youth. You may have noticed the state of West Virginia has an outstanding auxiliary, and each and every one of our units would be more than happy to bring you into our family, because that's what the auxiliary is, a family. Thank you.
I was truly amazed by the number of people standing when she went through that list, and I applaud everyone's sacrifice and all of your family members' sacrifice. So I'm going to applaud you. You don't have to applaud yourselves. Next, we have two lovely women presenting. I'm going to start by introducing Miss Carly McCoy. She will be entering her junior year at Marshall University in the fall. She is majoring in criminal justice with a minor in computer forensics. She attended Rhododendron Girls State as a citizen in 2014 and has been a junior counselor for the past 2 years. In high school, Carly was a 4-year JROTC cadet at Spring Valley High School in Huntington, where she was named the Wayne County Cadet of the Year for 2013 to 2014 and 2014 to 2015. Carly also served as the 2013-2014 American Legion Auxiliary Department of West Virginia Honorary Junior President. Please join me in welcoming Miss Carly McCoy. While I am aware that I introduced Mrs. Irene Weber to you last night, I'm going to do it again just so that you're reminded and inspired by her dedication to this program and her commitment to the American Legion Auxiliary. So again, Mrs. Irene Weber began her career as a member and volunteer with the American Legion Auxiliary in 1963. She became involved with the Girls State program in 1968 and has served in nearly all positions here at Rhododendron Girls State, serving as our director from 1997 until 2013. Mrs. Weber was made an honorary citizen of Rhododendron Girls State in 2015. Mrs. Weber had the privilege of serving as Central Division National Vice President. She is a past department president and was a member of the warmest of Girls State welcomes to Mrs. Irene Weber.
First of all, I will tell you that this will be the last night that you will see me up here. I promise. Next, I would like to thank Carly for sharing this with me. And what we're going to do tonight, we're just going to talk about our military for a little bit. And I want to also tell you that, Jill, I really appreciate the statistics that you gave us tonight as far as the American Legion Auxiliary is concerned. And I want to say the same thing, that if you can and would like to become a part of our family, when you get home, please talk to your mom and your dad and join us as a family. But tonight we're going to talk about our military. And you know, on Memorial Day, what we do, we honor the men and women who have sacrificed their lives for our country. And that's very, very important. And then on Veterans Day, we honor all military men and women. You know, regardless of what people think, ladies and gentlemen, freedom is not free. There is a high sacrifice that some has paid for our freedom. And so believe me, there is no truer word as that has been spoken than when someone tells you that freedom is not free. But tonight we were going to honor all of them, all military. And we're going to start with World War I. I just want to give you some numbers of casualties, and it might seem interesting. In World War I, we had, let's start with the Civil War. and it was from 1861 to 1865. There was 212,938 casualties in the Civil War. In World War I, which was from 1917 through 1918, there was 320,518 casualties. In World War II, which everybody says was our bloodiest war, and it went from 1941 to 1945, there was 1,076,245,000 casualties in World War II. The Korean War was from 1950 to 1953. There was 128,650 casualties. In the Vietnam War, from 1955 to 1975, which at that time has been our longest war, 211,454 casualties. The Iraq and the Afghanistan War from, I forgot to put down the dates. Anyway, there's been 57,614 casualties. And from 1775 to the present date, we have lost 2,852,901 plus casualties defending this country and fighting for our freedom. So now we would like to take a moment to honor all the military who paid the supreme sacrifice. To those, by the grace of God, who made it home, some with disabled in mind and body, but they made it home. So what we're going to do, we're going to light a candle for each branch of the service. And when I call out the branches of the service, if you have somebody in that branch, would you please stand? The U.S. Army was founded in June the 14th, 1775. Okay, you may be seated. The U.S. Navy was founded in October the 13th, 1775. Okay, you may be seated. The U.S. Marine Corps was founded November the 10th, 1775. Okay, you may be seated. The U.S. Coast Guard was founded August the 4th, 1790. You may be seated. The U.S. Air Force was founded September the 18th, 1947. Thank you. You may be seated. You know, it's truly amazing because most of you have stood up for one branch or the other. So thank you again for listening to our story and for honoring all of our veterans through all the great wars of this country. And have a wonderful evening. Thank you, Carly.
That is all the information I have in terms of special presentations. So am I moving on to talent now, or are we waiting for the Senate and the House to come back?